So, welcome to my tutorial channel on linguistics. This is all very basic stuff, so it belongs to the class Introduction to Linguistics. And today's video deals with semiotics, which is a subdiscipline of linguistics that deals with how do we generate meaning and how do we convey it by signs. Which leads us to the definition of signs according to Peirce, who made three categories of signs, the first one being the index, which is linked by causality and contiguity. So we have this link between what is said and how it is shown. And the index can often be found in literature or movies. For example, we often have a swing, which symbolizes childhood and is a recurring motif. And sometimes the work even creates its own indices, like, I don't know, maybe a character has a certain towel that they often use, and when you hear about that one towel, you will associate it with that character. Next up, we have the icon. And the icon, as you can see, is linked to what it represents by its visual similarity. So with this telephone symbol here, we have part of a telephone, or with the email symbol, we have an envelope, which is not quite an email, but which has to do with mailing. So I think you get it. And then we have the symbol, last but not least. The symbol is non-motivated, so it doesn't have any visual similarity to what it's supposed to represent. And we often find this in traffic signs. So how do you know that the sign on the very left here means give way? It's because you learned it, not because it's something in this sign shows you that it means give way. Then we have Ferdinand de Saussure, a name which you will hear in probably every single linguistic class you will ever take. And he focused on a linguistic sign instead of just any sign. And basically what he says is we have a signifier and we have a signified. You can also use the French terms if you will. So we have the signifié and the signifiant, for those of you who prefer these terms. And the two of them are linked by meaning. And the linguistic sign has three key components. It's arbitrary, it's linear, and it's conventional. Arbitrary means that it's non-motivated, much like a symbol. So there's no particular reason why a tree is called a tree. It's not in the tree itself to be called a tree. And moreover, we have the linear aspect. So we have in a linguistic sign a sequence of letters that is always in this order. This order doesn't change, and we view it from the beginning to the end. In our Western world, we look at it from left to right, for example. And then last but not least, we have conventional, which basically means that in our speech community, now in an English-speaking community, in this case, we talk about a tree, and everybody knows it's a tree, and everybody calls it a tree, and the whole speech community just agrees on this is a tree. Another important part of semiotics is the semiotic triangle. And in the triangle, we have the reference, we have the referent, and we have the symbol. So the referent is, let's stay with the tree. The referent is the tree that you can just find in any garden or park. And the symbol is the word tree. And the reference links the symbol and the referent. So we have the word tree as the reference is shown by the symbol, the letters T-R-E-E. And the reference, this word refers to the thing, tree. But there is no direct connection between the referent, the thing tree, and the symbol T-R-E-E. It's only because there is this reference, the word, that we have the connection. And now we leave the basic stuff. As far as I understood the script of the class, So we get to more advanced stuff, which you will probably hear at some point, so I'll just include it. For those of you who are interested, we have Bühler's organon model. The organon model is basically the Saussure with another level, namely the receiver. And we have, as you can see, the sign in the middle. And on the left, we have the sender, which would be, for example, me uttering all these words, or in other words, all these signs. And then we have the thing or the state that the sign describes. And we have the receiver who hears it. So this sign basically links the thing, which is represented by a symbol, with the sender who expresses it and the receiver who it appeals to. And this is basically all that is to it. It's not that complicated, it just looks horribly complicated. And then we have the 6 functions of language, according to Jakobson. So we have a referential function. Referential function basically means that you have some statement, a description, and this example here is water freezes at 0 degrees Celsius. This is just a simple statement where you just state a fact. And then we have the emotive function, where we have exclamations like, oh, bah, yikes, which is very focused on the sender itself. And then we have the conative function that focuses more on the receiver, like, pass me the salt, please. With that sentence, you would want the person to do something. Then we have the phatic function, which is there to establish, continue, or end contact with a person. So in this case, we have hello, which you would, for example, use when you're on the phone and you feel like the connection is lost and you're like, hello, hello, are you still there? So you want to continue the conversation. And then we have the metalingual function, which includes definitions. Like in this case, the phoneme T is a plosive, which is just a linguistic definition. And then we have the poetic function, where I have no example here. And actually, this little poetic here is a good example, because the poetic function is just a message for the message's sake. So if we have the word poetic here, it's just, I'm the poetic function. So it's actually quite a good example. And with that, I hope you have some more insight into semiotics. And I'll see you in the next video, where I'll be talking about phonetics and phonology.